amazing.
Amazing.
Nicolas Peduzzi.
Ciao.
You know, your name is very Italian.
Yes, my family originally is from Italy, but I'm born in France. I grew up in Rome, Italy.
Oh,
so
really?
Went back to the origins.
That's so cool. You're Romanista in reality. If you have to choose.
If I have to choose, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Because the funny thing is, so you speak Italian, yeah, obviously.
Yes, yeah.
But I can hear que tu parles français aussi.
Ouais, je parle français.
Parce que moi, j'habitais là-bas pour un an.
T'habitais? Ah, ok.
Ouais.
Ok, t'étais
Donc,
où?
à Antibes.
Antibes, ok. C'est sympa, Antibes, je connais pas.
Ouais, non, mais c'est à côté de Nice.
D'accord, ok.
Au sud.
Ouais, ça va.
Ouais, c'était bien. Mais c'était en 2010 jusqu'à 2011, donc ça fait longtemps. Mais je suis iranien aussi.
Ok, d'accord.
Ouais. Ok, cet film que t'as fait, très intéressant. J'ai pas vu parce que c'est pas première en Suède, je crois.
D'accord. Non, pas encore.
Now I got carried away speaking French with you.
Yes, okay, yeah, nobody's gonna understand.
So yeah, it will come out soon, and it's a documentary about a man working under very stressed circumstances in a hospital in Paris.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about this?
For sure. This hospital is a public hospital in Paris. It's a generalist hospital, so you have everything you can imagine in a hospital. And I was doing some research there. I was filming. It was during the first lockdown in Paris.
Wow.
And I wanted to do first something about the hospital and you know, during the COVID and the young doctors that starts there during this you know historic moment. But then I went to the emergency room, and by chance I run into this young doctor with like Nike sneakers, and I was watching him, and I was like, this guy is doing things a bit different than the rest of the people. And I realized it was the psychiatrist of the hospital, the only psychiatrist of the hospital, Dr. Abdelkader. And I really, you know, had the cinematographic flash for his way of doing, of his way of also treating, listening to the patient. And there were no time at that moment in the hospital, like everything was like so crazy, and he was trying to really fight, and so I was like in immersion in the hospital, and not always, you know, because I had, you know, sometimes there were other lockdown in France, and then I had to do other things, but like more or less for 2 years and a half.
What was that experience like? You must have been stressed.
For me it was okay. For him it was stress, because at first I was like, this guy is amazing, he's a young doctor, very, you know, human, of, you know, young psychiatrist. And then after a bit I realized that he was alone, that he was also teaching other young doctors, you know, young psychiatrists, because it's also a new university hospital. So he had like these triple things to do. He had the emergency room, he had the patient that were sick, and so he had to take care of that alone in this huge building in the suburbs of Paris. So for me it was symbolic of the way in our society we perceive mental health, and it's like completely left out, you know.
And that's very good. So that is, if you as the filmmaker had one thing that you would want people to, like, one thing that you would like to lift with this movie for people to see, it's the part about the mental health, I guess, or
it's the way we perceive people. What shocked me doing this movie was the way we, as a group, as a society, we perceive people that are considered as you know, crazy or by the society. So it's like they're completely abandoned, and you see on the street all the time that, you know, sometimes it's not much. Like, for example, in this hospital, some people that I filmed, that some, you know, like, were doing some theater thanks to him, and just that connection, human connection, can be enough to save someone, a young person that is in distress.
Well, this is so interesting that you say, sorry for my interrupting, but
please.
Because when I was young, when I was only 15, 16, I interned in a psychiatry clinic called Clinique de la Costière in Nice, because I saw the trailer and saw the kind of patients, and it reminded me of that time. And the thing you say about, like, you know, just the human connection can sometimes be enough, because I myself have like one of the biggest TikTok channels in Sweden, where I mainly talk about football, but lately I've talked about mental health as well. And a lot of people have been, you know, writing to me privately about how they feel, and the common thing that they all say is that they lack this human connection. Someone to just to just talk to share, you know. I realized that we as humans it's such a necessity for us. We must, because we can't survive without it, really, or function. And I guess that this was obviously something that you, in first hand, recording him for 2 years, now realized as well. Wow.
It was a shock, because it was like, sometimes it's like you say, it's like a little thing. Like there were this guy in the hospital that was alone, no family. He suffered from a disease, like a physical disease, but also from some mental health issues. And he died, unfortunately diseased, but it was like, you can tell, and that's why the Dr. Abdelkader was so at some point a burnout, because it was that, you know, the guy to feel better, because with, you know, just human contact. And
did he develop, like, because I can imagine as for him as a doctor, very hard to to be professional and not get too emotionally involved, you know, in taking care of these people who are suffering.
I think it's impossible. I think that's what I was like that. I was like, you know, I guess they're trained to add some kind of distance, but you always, he was very attached to this young patient. So I think it's something that, it's a scare that you always carry as a carer, you know. I realize how much they get attached to their patient, and how much is a tragedy every time you lose someone that you could have saved, but the time being in the hospital, the craziness all over of the system, he didn't have the material needs to, you know, to help this young patient. So it's like a tragedy, because you knew you could have saved him, but lack of time and means and
resources.
And resources. Sorry.
Wow. Have you seen the series? Do you know the series Scrubs?
I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
No, but it was a comedy series, but very emotional one as well, about a hospital. And there's one scene where there's an older doctor who always tells his patients, like, he recommends them to try to just be professional. But then he also finds some patients that sadly pass away, and he also develops like an emotional connection to them. And he realizes, like, when you develop this emotional connection to patients, like, there's no going back, because like when you have done it the first, like, and as you say, he realizes that it's impossible not to. And he was like the oldest one, like very experienced, but even he couldn't, because like, it's human. It's human. You can't be doctor, like, it's impossible. I can imagine for him it must be kind of like working in a sometimes almost in a losing situation, helpless.
Helpless. And you know, if he had more psychiatrists helping him, if he had like the structure to develop these theater pieces, I witnessed the people getting better, like just being in connection. Like it was not only about theater, it was just being in the same room with a lot, because he was taking care of a lot of young people that were also sick, and so the sickness and the fact that they were inside the hospital make also the psychic, you know, it's like, you know, if you're in a hospital room for like 4 times a week and you're like 25, like, of course you need some mental accompanying, you know, like.
Has the movie been released in France?
It was released, no, it's some festival, and it's going to Arte. Arte is like a French channel, and it's a German-French
Arte. Arte. Nice. I remember. Very nice. Congratulations. But how was the reception been so far?
It was very good. That
makes me happy.
Very good. I think a lot of people personally, or you know, in your family or friends, everybody has someone who like. And mental health can be like sometimes can be only depression. That's mental health.
Yes, I know.
And people that it's a bit taboo in our society also to talk about these things, and I think we should talk more and have like more understanding of that, because you know, sometimes you self-medicated, a lot of people like drinks or...
exactly. God, only like, just, I'm sorry, but just look at Hollywood, how many people who sadly, you know, I think a lot of people like take the misconception that, you know, money, fame, women will be the answer. Then they realize it's not the answer, and they drown themselves in these things, because it's hard. And you know, I'm actually really glad to be sitting here, because I had no idea the movie would have this, you know, because I only saw the trailer and saw a man running in a hospital. But because I had a person who he wasn't a close friend, but I only met him 5-6 times, but only a few weeks ago I heard he committed suicide. And you know, it really broke me, because I was working I'm working with a podcast, and he was supposed to film and, you know, make the podcast, and it was the first time I ever in my life experienced someone passing away that way.
It's a shock.
And I'm like, you know, and I myself, you know, have been having low moments before in my life, but you know, never in that level. And I realized like, wow, this is like, you know, it's real. People really, you know, can be feeling this way. And as you say, it's such a taboo, you know, how we, even though like we've started talking about it more, it's still like, even when I was feeling the worst, it was so hard for me to talk to my closest friends, and I have wonderful friends, but it was so hard because maybe it's the stigma or whatever it is, because you can't show this weakness, especially as a man. Like it's like you just can't.
Even worse,
you know, and that's why it's so like, and that's really the beauty of film, because I can tell you with full honesty that for me, film like saved my life. Like
I'm the same.
Really?
Yeah, same. Really.
Do you have any specific movies that it has like?
I have so many. I have like the first shock that I had in my life was the Battle of Algiers. It's a movie about
Algeria.
Yeah, Algeria. Yeah. It's about like
the colonization.
And the people fighting for their freedom, and that was like, I remember I was a kid, I saw that. That's amazing. You're gonna love it. And I think it's an Italian director. Pontecorvo. This director did only 2 movies about colonization.
Okay. Well, Nicolas, I will watch this. Have you seen The Count of Monte Cristo?
No, I missed this one.
It's based on the books by what's his name, Alexandre. I don't
Dumas.
I don't think it's. Maybe it's Dumas.
Maybe it's Dumas.
Yeah, it's Alexandre Dumas.
Okay.
The movie from 2002. Like.
Yeah, good.
Oh, it's so beautiful, my friend.
Cool.
I really like it. It's the last role of Richard Harris, you know, the old actor who played Dumbledore in Harry Potter.
Wow.
It's his last role.
Amazing
it's wonderful.
actor.
I wish I could talk to you for 6 hours, honestly, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Genuinely, I really mean it. Because, as I said, what movies mean for me, and you making a movie about something like this as well, and you worked for it for so long, you know, 2 years just filming him, like... we're not even talking post-production.
Exactly.
I sincerely, genuinely wish you all the best. And do you have an Instagram where I can find you?
Yeah, Nicolas Peduzzi, just my
Nicolas
name.
Peduzzi,
Yeah,
okay.
Peduzzi.
Mon ami, mon frère.
Pleasure.
Really, man.
Yeah, moi aussi.
I'll see you maybe in France or Italy.
Ouais, hit me up if you come in France or Italy.
Yeah, t'habites où maintenant?
Moi, je suis à Paris.
Paris?
Ouais.
Ok, Paris.
Ouais,
If I come and watch...
Si tu viens à Paris et...
Well, we look a game together.
Voilà, we go to a game in Roma. Ciao.
All the best,
Thanks,
my friend. Thank you so much again.
Ciao.
Ciao.